My husband grew up in New York. Supposedly his first word was bagel. Isn't that sweet? Bagel. He is the oldest of two. I am the youngest of six. My first word was, nobody remembers. Nobody remembers. I do miss drinking, I have to say. I have not been drinking, which is when everyone goes, you look so great. I'm like, is it the hormones or is it just not drinking? Because I love drinking, and I'm very much the person, like, we sit down for dinner, I order 2 bottles of wine so you can get whatever you want, you know? So I knew when I stopped drinking that that was going to be the sure way, that everyone would just know, be so obvious, and there's a while you don't tell anyone, obviously, but you can't drink. And I was out at a party with a whole bunch of people, and it's an open bar, and I was like, oh, God, how am I going to navigate this? So I'm trying to be undercover, but a friend's like, hey, I'm going to the bar. What do you want? Do you want, like, a whiskey sour? Do you want Jack and Coke? What do you want? And I was like, just a water. It's like, here we go. And this is what I got. Good for you, Ophira. It's like, excuse me? They're like, we're just really happy that you decided to make the decision before we had to say something to you. Like, you assholes, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm pregnant. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. That is very funny. Nobody thinks you should be a mother, but that's funny. And I've really, no one has touched me that has asked not, like someone's asked to touch the belly, and I was like, whatever. But I did have one extreme case. Someone I didn't even know came towards me in a public setting, kissed my belly 3 times. I was paralyzed. I didn't even do anything about it. Kissed my belly 3 times and then looked up at me and said, it's a girl. And I just went, I'm not pregnant. And just the expressions shifted on this guy's face from, like, shame and embarrassment and disgust and confusion. I mean, it was such a mess. And I was like, wow, I should really save him and tell him the truth. And then I was like, or I could just walk away. And I was like, fuck this. And I just walked away. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing. You know, we have this joke, which is basically that, when we found out, this is somewhere between a surprise and a mistake. You know, like a wow with a fuck in it. Like, wow, fuck, you know. Which is not entirely the truth. The truth is, actually, that I really never wanted kids. I really never wanted kids. And it wasn't because I was waiting for the perfect scenario, the perfect job, the perfect apartment, the great life insurance policy. I was waiting to want to have it, that feeling. And in my 30s, you know what? I had a lot of friends that were like really going through it. They were like, oh my God, when you see a kid in a grocery store, don't you just want to grab the baby and like smell it really hard and then like chomp on its like big little puffy legs and then steal it? And I was like, what? Like, what are you, the witch from Hansel and Gretel? Like, what are you talking about? No! I had no idea what they were saying. I mean, my goals in my 30s were to get paid doing stand-up comedy. I wanted a bedroom that I could put a bed in and then walk around all 3 sides. Oh. That was a big one. And my big, like, pie in the sky. Like, if I made it, I would know I made it if I had, was to own a wine fridge. That was my big goal, to get to the point where I had a wine fridge in my house that had wine in it that lasted more than 1 weekend. That's what I wanted. And I just had a lot of friends that were freaking out going like, oh my God, what if I live my life and never experience having a child? And I was thinking, oh my God, what if I live my life and never experience peyote? You know, like we were just totally doing something different. And then I turned 40 and I was like, oh my God, I am never gonna experience peyote. Window is closed. No, but I was still a little ambivalent about the kids. I was thinking about it more, but I was just like waiting. I was like, do I want this? I didn't feel strongly about it. And at that point, my career started to pick up. I had a good job. I was working a lot. It seems very satisfying. For a brief second, I felt good about things. And that is the moment, of course, when life turns itself upside down. Because I, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, got diagnosed with breast cancer, early stage breast cancer. There's people who've had it much worse. But there's no such thing as lucky breast cancer. Great breast cancer. It was breast cancer. And I didn't respond to it by having my big Tig Notaro moment. And spin it into comedy gold. No. I fell apart. I was depressed. I was angry. I completely lost my sense of myself, as somehow I just trudged through a year of surgeries and then daily radiation. And I was not a cancer survivor. I was someone who had cancer. That's how I felt. I couldn't look into the future. I was like, do I even have a future? And people kept saying, just live for the day. No, luxury is being able to look forward. And I didn't know who I was. I lost my identity, and somehow after the year, that moment happened where I was with a doctor, and they said, they don't use the word remission very often anymore, but they said, all right, we've done everything we can, you're good, so we'll see you in a year for more tests. And I was like, all right, I guess I have a year. And I went out back into the world trying to ease myself in. I didn't really know how to do it. And somehow, kind of right away, I spontaneously got pregnant. And I was like, holy fuck. And there was one thing about wow, there could be a kid involved, but really what elated me was knowing that my body was doing anything positive. I thought it was trying to kill me. I thought I was looking at a field of black, barren soil. And all of a sudden, there was a little tiny green shoot. And I just thought maybe I was healthy. I'll never forget, because it was April 1st. And I went to the CVS to buy a pregnancy test. And there was some promotion going on, and I said to the cashier as I was buying it, oh, it's April Fool's Day. And she looked at my purchase and at me and gave me this look like, either you are planning the most brutal or the most brilliant April Fool's joke of all time.